I'm your host, Riem Zin Labidin, and you are listening to Tech Tag Podcast.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mahmoud Hafez. I'm a principal solution architect at AI 71. And today I'll be speaking about my career journey, and I hope you will enjoy it.
Hi, Mahmoud. Thanks for accepting the invitation. It's a pleasure to have you today.
Pleasure of mine.
Before we start talking about your journey, can you introduce yourself and tell us more about you, about your hobbies, maybe?
I used to have hobbies. So when I was a teenager, I was a gamer. I used to play a lot of video games and PlayStation. At that point in time, it was all my generation. I think we were doing the same. After that, I was mainly focused on football and football analysis. I started to read some book about how the game is like seen by coaches and stuff like that. I wanted at a certain point in time to pursue a career in that, especially using my software background to work in a project like that. But I wasn't lucky to get it done. But that's on a hobby level. Currently, my only hobbies is like going to the gym, reading books, very boring books about philosophy and politics and how nation rises and how nation fails, etc. This is the kind of topics that interest my mind. I'm also very interested in the books that speak about your mind and how the brain actually works. It's one of the topics that I'm really interested in. There is also a very interesting book. It's called Give and Take. I highly recommend this book. And it tells you about how you should be reacting to the world and how you perceive other actions and how should you react towards them. Yeah, Give and Take. It's a very, very good book.
Sounds interesting. It seems that you have interesting journey also because you used to work in Germany and you moved.
Yeah, I moved to UAE 6 months ago.
Yeah, we will explore this in details. Let's start with how you got interested into engineering and computers, how your journey started.
Actually, I wasn't interested in software. During my college time, I was studying biomedical and information systems. So I was a biomedical engineer. And I was more interested into the hardware side of it. And I worked a couple of years during my college time as a medical rep, which is like a sales job. You just go and try to sell medical equipment to doctors and hospitals and clinics and stuff like that. My best friend, and he's my long-lasting friend. We have been friends since high school till now. So it's like, I don't know, 26 years now, maybe. I don't know. And he was taking care of everything software, and I was taking everything of hardware. Splitting work between us, and even split studying. So I study chapter 1, 3, 5, 7. He studies chapter 2, 4, 8, and then we do some sort of knowledge sharing. So and he was the software one, and I was the hardware partner. And then after 26 years, I work in software, and he works in hardware for 26 years as well. So,
Wow.
so it wasn't planned at all. It wasn't planned at all. Once I graduated, I looked back to the past 2 years. It was a really good job for a college student, but it wasn't the career. So I realized that, okay, what should I be doing? And I realized, no, this is not what I'm going to do. I would do anything else. Luckily, I was visiting a friend of mine, and he was applying for a software diploma in Information Technology Institution. It's abbreviated ITI in Egypt. And he said, I'm applying for this. You should do it. I said, I'm not interested. But he said, no, costs nothing. Just apply. And he did the application for me. And after a week, they didn't call. Nobody texted, nothing. And that's a funny one. I was actually in the area of the institution. So the institution in an area in Cairo called Haram. Okay. And after you graduate in Egypt, you have to go to military to get certificate exemption from military duty, because I only have female sisters, and I should get an exemption. So I was there for the exemption, and the bus I was taking got broke down in front of the building of the ITI. So I thought about, okay, they didn't call me for 10 days. Maybe I should go and give them a nudge or something. And it was 2 p.m. and mostly everyone has left at that time. So I just went there. Hey, I made an application. Nobody called. I said, yeah, sometimes it happened. Just go upstairs, talk to someone. She was one of the instructor, but she was the identical twin of someone I used to know in some charity work. We used to do some charity work for Risala Institution when I was in first and second year at college. So I was just like, I barged in her office and said, hey, how's it going? She was like, what? And I just called her and you mean my sister? I'm her twin. And I said, oh, I'm really, really sorry. I didn't know. And she said, yeah, why you're here? I said, I did an application, but nobody called. She looked at the system. Hey, your application is totally didn't reach us. It was stuck somewhere in the system and it never reached the backend. So she fixed it because it was the first year for the ITI to make the applications online. Before that, they used to go in person and do it.
Yeah.
So she fixed it and told me, hey, your interview is tomorrow. So and next day, I'm in the interview. I did first like a placing test or something like an IQ test and mathematical stuff like that. So I did the test in the same day. And then in the next day, I had the interview. And during the interview, I was not able to answer any question because I was simply not that good. The instructor, I hope she's good and well. She gave me the opportunity of the lifetime. She asked me many questions. I couldn't answer any of them. I told, what are you doing here? You cannot answer any question. I told her I came here to learn. I have been working for the past 2 years as a medical rep, and I see no career for myself. So it's either this, or I'm gonna just like apply for immigration towards Australia with my best friend. We were planning to do that. So it's either this or that, but I'm not gonna continue doing what I'm doing. And from there, I started a career in software.
Wow.
So it wasn't planned at all. It wasn't a plan. Actually, there was no plan.
Yeah, this is fate. It's like,
it's purely fate. It's purely fate.
yeah, the
100%.
opportunity showed up in unexpected environment.
Yes.
And yeah, I usually also remember the first manager who gave the opportunity and believed in my skills, and I can relate on how you feel about this.
Yeah, I'm very grateful for few people in my career, and my first manager who worked with me as a medical rep. Her name is Rabab. I really appreciate her and send my regards always to her. She gave me maybe the most valuable lessons that I have learned in my life. Selling anything to anyone is a surviving skill in the business. If you are a software developer, if you are a product manager, if you are anything in any industry, if you are a doctor, you need to sell at least your ideas for others. So maybe selling your treatment plan for your patient, it's a skill still. So she taught me how to do that. She taught me how to read the room, how to read the reaction of the people, how to maneuver when they corner you, how to answer counter question. Like when you always have your own narrative, and then people start to challenge your narrative. I'm trying to sell you something and say, yeah, it's not that good. Why it's different from others? Why it's more expensive? And then you have to counter the counter. And learning this skill was very, 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 very helpful. I'm very grateful also for her. She was my first manager, and she was the one who opened my eyes on that business is not only about being technically qualified. It's about being there in the right time with the right message.
Yeah. And building the soft skills so you can communicate with people.
Yeah.
And like your first role, what was it? Like exactly, what did you do?
Yeah, I graduated from the ITI after 1 year. And then I had a training in a company in Egypt for a software developer. And then I got hired as a software developer / integration engineer because there was like it's not the traditional kind of software work because we are services company more than product company. So I worked there for Ericsson for almost 10 years between Egypt and Germany. So I started as a developer for a couple of years, and then as an integration engineer for almost another couple of years, support engineer for almost 6 months, a solution architect for a couple of years. And then I moved to Germany as a solution architect, where like I gained more exposure, worked with global customers. So before I was just serving Egypt and the Middle East area and some parts of Africa. But afterwards, when I was in Germany, I was like in a more global team. So I was like serving the whole globe, which gave me exposure to some other, of course, cultures and communities. Also working in Germany give you more opportunities than the ones that you have when I was at Egypt.
Yeah.
And it gives you access also to what's new in technology, what's new in business, etc. So that inspired me for the next step. So what I should be doing next. So I started to see what options that I have if I moved away from my role. And at that point in time, cloud was a really hot topic. Like in Germany, it was really, really hot. So I took a certificate for AWS as an architect. I took the certification, and then I got a phone call from a recruiter from Amazon. Hey, we want to speak to you. I did the interview. I failed. Okay, we can try again in 6 months. Okay, but can I know why did I fail? Because it was like I didn't do much interviews in my career till that point of time. I joined Ericsson from ITI in one interview. I didn't fail, so like I just passed. So failure was like new to me, and I wanted to know the feedback. Well, what went wrong? Because I thought I did good, and that's the thing. Like you expect that you did everything great, and it wasn't good enough. They said that I lack some technical skills that I need to get. And my whole experience, like the whole 10 years of experience that I had, is in one domain, which is telecom. I never worked outside telecom. So at least they need someone for this role that has at least knowledge in 2 business domains, which is why I was like, yeah, that's a good lesson to learn. I need to get out of this industry and try to learn the business outside this industry. And then I find another job as a platform engineer in a company called Metro Gnome. It was like a technology arm for a big retailer. So it looks like a step back because I was already a senior architect before that at Ericsson. But there I wanted to get some technical skills that I lack and domain knowledge, business domain knowledge of another domain. So I went there and worked there for 12 months. Exactly. And during these 12 months, I got interviewed with Amazon or AWS for the second time after 6 months from the first one, but for a different role. And I also failed for the same reason. They thought that I'm not ready. However, the hiring manager, Nils, he's a really good friend of mine. He told me that he's not convinced with the result of this, of the panel. And he asked me to stay in touch, and he told me to apply in 3 months again. So fast forward 3 months again, I reached out to him, and he replied after a month because he was getting married. So yeah, congratulations. And he came back and said, "Hey, we can move forward. Let's do it." I told him, "Okay, I already signed a contract with another company. I was moving from my company to another company." He said, "No. We will do this very quickly." And after 48 hours, I was flying from Frankfurt to Munich to do the interview. It was like so fast. And I passed this time and I got hired. And the good thing is that I met my best manager in my career in the next
in AWS?
He was hired in AWS. He was hired after me after a couple of months. And we started a team with 3 of us, like myself, himself, and my tag team, as I would like to call it. And we built a very, very, very strong team for the next 3 years. It was like the best years in my career, I can put it this way.
Interesting. And was your role solution architect or?
I was actually a DevOps consultant, which is like in professional services, it's the kind of architect, but focusing more on delivery. So I was back as an architect, yeah, you can call it this way. And then I got promoted to a senior consultant, and then I was leading a team of 3. It was my first and last managerial role for a whole year, but then I left AWS.
Can you share with us about like what skills that you needed to develop in order to get promoted from one role to another? Like what did you do? Like maybe you suggest some approaches and ways to grow.
So the promotion inside Amazon is not about your technical skills. It's not when you get better technically, you get promoted. It's about the business impact that you do, that you achieve. It's not like who knows more about the platform, who knows more about infrastructure topics or stuff like that. Of course, there are some of the people who got promoted for that, whose roles are like purely technologists. And there are some fantastic people doing that. But in professional services, or at least the team I was on, it was about impact. What impact did you make for your customers? How much money did they manage to save with your contribution? Or what kind of business they have managed to secure with your support? So the outcomes that decide if my job was good or not. It was not about the job itself. It's not about what I built for the business. It's about what this has achieved for the business. If I do the best solution, but it lands delayed, the business is hurt and it doesn't matter. That was like, for me, like a big realization, because it's connecting with what the lessons I got from Rabab like 12 and 13 years ago. It's about business. It's not about technology. If a technological solution that is cheaper can solve the same problem, then just do it. It doesn't have to be the best technology. It doesn't have to be the state-of-the-art technology. As long as it's working, as long as it's reliable, as long as it achieves the results that it's desired from it, then go for it. And this kind of pragmatism, it's resonated very well with my character. So I thrived in this environment. And that's why I see that this was the best time where I was like really, really happy at work, because everybody appreciated this kind of pragmatism at work. So it was really, really good time.
And in general, when someone feels that they have impact in their job, it gives purpose every day to go to work also, right? It's motivating.
Yeah. It's motivating and it is satisfying. When you shut your laptop at the end of the day, you feel satisfied that you achieved something. And this something is measurable, okay? Because things that you build and you cannot see their impact, you don't get attached to it. You just, after 2 to 3 months, you'll just forget about it. It is the things that really matters that stays. And that's why when you ask me about it, you can feel that I remember this. I talk about it very passionately because I was happy. I was living those days and see what difference I can make.
Yeah. And after your experience in AWS, how did you progress in your career?
So after 3 years, I felt like I've done most of the things that I wanted to do. And the work on the delivery side was like started to be repeatable for me. So I was in a project and there was an account manager I was working with in AWS, and we were working on pre-sales, trying to close a deal. And I joined as sales support, and I liked the energy. I liked what they were doing, and I was thinking, okay, yeah, maybe my next move should be on sales side, to do sales support and do technical sales. At that point, someone from Google HR reached out to me and told me, "Hey, we have a position for a sales engineer in Google Cloud." So I took the interview and I passed. And then I got frozen for a couple of months because that was near the end of the pandemic in 2022.
Yeah.
They had the restructuring and stuff like that. And after 2 months, they came back and said, "Hey, we are ready to proceed." So I joined in January 2023 as a sales engineer in Google. And I was not lucky enough because there was the first mass layoff inside Google, and they fired lots of people. And there was a panic in the company because they never did any kind of reduction before. And my team that I joined was like just dismantled, and they redistribute everyone to different teams. So I find myself joining a new company, and then I was put in a team that I didn't choose. So I stayed there for 6 months.
Mhm.
I could call them the worst 6 months in my career. I couldn't see worse, to be honest. And I have seen a lot of bad things, but that was the worst stage in my career.
Was it
Um,
because you had to work in a different team than you expected, or?
different team, different people. My manager, she was horrible. I never seen someone very vindictive like that before. I don't know, maybe she felt threatened or something, but I don't. I didn't do anything to provoke her, but she was like chasing me for everything I was doing. I don't know. Um, but it was like something she planned because firing people in Germany is very complex. And I think she thought since I'm in probation, I'm an easy target. Like, but she needs
Mhm.
to give me a heads up first, or like she needs to tell me, hey, you're not doing your work, you're not doing that, you know. But in usually in Google, in the first 3 months, you're just doing onboarding stuff, like you're just learning. And in my first 2 months, I was like already delivering to
Mhm.
customers, and I got recognition already from few of them. And later on, I got more recognition from other customers who I worked with. So I didn't know. I actually don't understand what was the
Yeah.
motive for her to do that. But the conclusion I reached is that it's nothing that I have done. And it's nothing that I didn't do. Because if I was not doing something, she would have pointed out and said, hey, you should do this. But she didn't tell me. In the last week, in my probation, in the very last week, we were planning a team gathering in the first week of my 7th month. Okay. And she came to me and said, hey, we need to plan your travel. I'll be traveling from Berlin as well, so we can travel together, etc., etc. So I felt like, okay, whatever in the past, it's in the past, and now we understand more each other, etc. And she could see the value that I'm bringing. In Google, there are something called beer bonus, where your colleagues can send you like a bonus, like a $100 or something for stuff that you did.
Yeah.
And she was receiving them because she has to approve them. So maybe she realized I already bringing value. I already did something really well. And there was a big customer that I'm preparing a demo for. And I was like building the first natural language chatbot to replace technical support in its traditional way, like the dummy assistant that you go on a website and pre-baked question that you can select from. So I wanted to replace this with natural language. So I did the demo for my colleagues. They were extremely fascinated with it. And she came in and said, hey, why don't you record it? I said, yeah, I can record it. So she said, okay, yeah, I recorded it. I put it in my shared it with the team. She said, no, just put it in common folder for owned by the team. It's just a Google folder. It's like Google Drive. I give you access. It's there. I said, no, we want to build some sort of shared library for for whatever demo that we're building. I was like, okay, yeah, sure. The folder, I will upload the demo there, and you can just everybody can have it. The funny part that was on Thursday evening, I uploaded, and Friday morning I received my termination letter in the post. And the reason she was asking me to move the demo is because when she terminates me, all things that is tied to my account is like simply closed. So I don't have access to it, and nobody else have access to it. After I received the termination letter, we had a call with the HR, and she told me, unfortunately, you didn't pass your probation, etc., etc. I said, okay, but why? Because like I have 2 days to complete my probation. So by Monday, my probation is over. She said, no, it's a decision. I talked to you many times and you didn't listen. Blah 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 blah. Yes.
Oof, that's
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah. And in Friday afternoon, I received a call from the customer. And he was talking to me, hey, I just heard they just like fired you. This is insane, blah, blah, blah. And okay, I can offer you a job because I think we can continue working together. And the same day, I got an offer to join his company.
Nice.
That was a good thing. My colleagues in the team, they were nice to me. They tried to help. And there was one of my skift manager. He was moving from Google to Databricks, and he knew what happened. And he already left Google like a few weeks ago. He gave me a call. Hey, Mahmoud, I'm really sorry to hear that, but I'm going to Databricks. would you like me to recommend you there? I would love to work with you again. And I told them, I'm not a data expert. I didn't work in data, and like I'm starting working in AI, so I'm not sure that I'm up for the job. He said, no, just talk to the hiring manager and speak to him. And I spoke to the hiring manager at the same day.
Wow.
And he told me, why did you leave? I told him I'm not leaving. I was terminated, etc., etc. And I was like, that's something that happened to me in the past as well. I left the company and I joined another one for them to fire me in after 4 or 5 months without good reason. It happens to everyone, so you don't need to worry about it. I will give you the opportunity to go through the interviews, and if you're good enough, then you're just hired. So yeah, fast forward 2 weeks later, I passed the interview. I get an offer from Databricks, and I start, and I stayed there for 2 years. And if I could say, if I was still living in Germany, I wouldn't have left Databricks. Databricks was really, really, really good company, and they were really nice to me. The manager I got was top notch. He is very good human being. We are friends now. We keep the communication open between us. He looks after me even after I left, and I really appreciate him as a person. He's one of the best I have ever had. And I was like thinking that, okay, yeah, I'm really good compensated for what happened to me with a really good manager and with a really good company. So I wish I rejoined them one day when they move to UAE.
And did you work on data when you were there, or like did you change the domain?
It was a change. It was a change. So in AWS, I was a DevOps and infrastructure and security focused. At Google, I was more into infrastructure and sales and AI stuff and data stuff, but not much. At Databricks, it was purely data engineering stuff, machine learning stuff. And I was an expert in machine learning, but my manager told me, yeah, you can ramp up, you can learn, then just go for it. And he gave me a task to get a machine learning certificate within the first 3 months. I did it. So he said,
Cool.
So I learned it on the job, but also the type of business that I worked before Databricks, my customers were mainly in financial sector, in telecom. At Databricks, I seen petrochemicals. I worked with manufacturers. I worked with pharmaceutical companies, which gave me broader exposure from business perspective. So I would say that the 2 years I spent in Databricks, I learned about business and business processes more than what I learned technically. I'm not saying I'm not learning technically. No, I learned a lot. But the idea is the exposure on a business level was so much higher. And the amount of work that I have done at Databricks is similar to the amount of work I was doing at Amazon. So I can say that I was like a fish that was thrown back to the water again. Like I felt like the 6 months I spent at GCP, I was like a fish outside of the water. But now I'm back and breathing again. So yeah, Databricks for me was a really good stop, and it was a highlight in my career. Of course, the people there were great. The technology is great. The management and the leadership team in Databricks, they are fantastic people. So it was so much learning, so much fun, I would say. So much t-shirts. Like I got so many Databricks t-shirts, and my wife, she was like, "Hey, that's too much," and it's always black. It was always black or dark blue, and I love black and dark blue, but she doesn't like it. So I had so much t-shirts from that, and I still keep some of them. But it was for a very, very personal reason that I moved to UAE. So I had to move here for a family reunion because this is what my family needed. So I had to take a career decision based on family needs, not on my own. That was the first time that I take a career step just for family, not for myself. Seeing myself developing or moving from one place to another.
And from this different experiences that you shared, I can recognize how much important management. Like I think it's the most important thing that the companies should make
you
sure.
Work for your manager.
Exactly.
Working in a big company or big tech is about your manager. If your manager is good, your job is good. If your manager is bad, even in the best companies in the world, I can say this from experience. People say that AWS is a brutal company. The environment is
Yes, I
very, very
hear.
bad. No, it's not. For me, AWS was a very good company with very good environment compared to what I see at GCP. It was the worst experience of my life.
Mm.
And it depends on the manager. There are other people and other managers at GCP. They are fantastic people. They are so good people.
Yeah.
I wasn't lucky. I was an exception, maybe outlier. All of this are valid, and there are outliers everywhere. But if you have a good manager in a big company, you have a good job. If you have a bad manager, even in a big company, you have a bad job.
Yeah.
It took me a while and a lot of therapy to get over it, because even if you know it's not your fault,
Yeah.
you still feel this kind of, I don't know, misjudging or bitterness,
Unfairness. Mm.
unfairness. It's very difficult to overcome it. It's not
Yeah.
easy. And it took me a while to overcome it. And it took much work from my manager at Databricks to give me this confidence back, because I was very suspicious from everything and everyone, because I was
Yeah.
a trusting person. I was trusting everyone. I was sharing my mind, and I got punished for that. But it's about people, and that's what I'm looking for always when I'm moving from one company to another now. I'm looking for the hiring manager. If I get along with the hiring manager, most probably I'm gonna make a move. If I don't trust the person, even if the job is higher in pay, better in my career, no, I will not go for it. It's a lesson that I have learned the hard way.
Yeah. It's very valid. I can relate. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're a manager in Databricks, and like the situation came at the right time. I'm very grateful that these things turned out this way.
At the end of the day, God has a plan for everything.
Yes.
And it's a phases in your life, lessons that you have to learn in order for you to grow.
Yeah.
But when you go through it, it's not easy. It's easy after you recover from it.
Exactly.
But when you go through it, it's a hell to live with. But if I didn't go to Google and stayed at AWS, I wouldn't have met my skip manager who took me to
Yes.
Databricks. And if I didn't go to Databricks, I would not be able to move to UAE for the position I'm working on, because I now work more on stuff that is highly required in this side of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at the final outcome, it has to go this path. It's never easy, and it shouldn't be easy, because I say always to people I mentor, if it's easy, it's not worth it. Things that have a value, it's difficult to obtain. If it's a task or an activity that you will do it in 5-10 minutes, it doesn't have much value. It's like snacks. You can eat a bag of snacks and still feel hungry. But if you want to get your belly full, then you have to stand for a couple of hours and cook a real meal to get yourself full. So you have to put some effort in it. I had previous experience about unfairness early in my career, because like, who didn't? But I was reaching a stage in my career. I was like doing whatever I want, and people get appreciating that. So I get too comfortable at
Yeah.
AWS, because everyone was trusting me and I was trusting everyone. And I had a good relation with my manager. I had a very good relation with my skip manager, and I have even fantastic relation with my manager's peers. So
Mm-hmm.
within the organization, I was very well appreciated. So I moved and felt like, okay, everybody there knows me well and understand why I do this, why I do that. But I had this false feeling of security with me. So I put my guard down. So I didn't see the sign.
Yeah.
And that was my mistake. So it's a lesson, because when you take things for granted for a long time, you just forget that they are there.
Yeah, you're right. It's full of wisdom, like these these stories. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And about the Databricks, when you moved, wasn't there an opportunity with remote work, or it's difficult in Germany? I think it's not
No, it
possible.
wasn't possible. No, it wasn't
Ah,
possible.
okay.
Rules and regulations, and I was working in regulated industry as well in for my customers, so it wasn't possible to do that.
Ah, okay.
And my manager tried to find me something that I can work remotely, but it didn't work. And I moved to a really good company with a really, I would say, promising future in the markets and working in a very interesting projects, I would say. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
learning the region dynamics, because the dynamics and the customer demand is a little bit different from one country to another. So I'm adjusting, but overall, it's a good opportunity. I have some attachment to Databricks from feelings perspective, but professionally, there's nothing like the relationship between an employee and a company. It's just a transaction relationship. Once it's concluded, it's concluded.
Yeah.
If it's meant to be another transaction, then we will have another transaction. But otherwise, I enjoyed my time there. That's it.
Yeah. And I imagine also when you move to a different country, it's not easy to get the job. Can you share how you applied for this job?
It was actually a refer from a friend of
Ah,
friend
nice.
actually. So a friend of mine, he was applying for the same position I'm doing right now, and he got another offer in another company. So he told him, hey, if you want someone else, you can speak to Mahmoud.
And this has happened after you moved or before?
No,
Because it's
before
not
before I moved, before
before.
I moved.
Because most of companies, especially not it's outside of Europe, it would be difficult with this relocation package,
Mm.
etc.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I cannot relocate on my own. It's gonna be risky because you need some visa sponsorship. So it wasn't that easy. So I needed a company who can do that for me. So I had to bring a value on the table so they can do that. And luckily they were willing to take this chance with me and bring me here. And hopefully I'm doing a good job enough to pay them back.
I'm sure you do. And it's been now 6 months in this company,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And what are your responsibilities?
I'm a principal solution architect.
Mhm.
So I'm actually the only architect now in the company, and we are building a product which is like an AI platform, and we try to bring AI in governmental entities, private companies, and they call it federal governmental entities within UAE. So we build the platform that enable them from building agents and building automations around AI. So instead of like building wrappers around commercial models like OpenAI, GPT, or Anthropic, etc., we use open source models so it can be deployed inside data center that is sealed and locked and only accessible by customers. It's like
Mhm.
data privacy is the major issue in a country like UAE. They are very vigilant about data safety and data privacy.
Sounds interesting. I was about to ask you about AI and whether you work with AI, but you already answered.
Everyone now is working with AI.
Yes. Before wrapping up, what advice would you share with people who are starting their journey? What would you wish you have known before?
I will educate myself about money, how money works, and how economy works. So I read the big picture most of
Mhm.
the time. Move to business sectors that is money flowing in. Like now, money flow towards AI and data. So if you are starting your career, I would pick a job around data, around AI, around security. So understand the market dynamics, understand the high demands of the roles, and try to be always in high demand. If you find yourself somewhere like everybody's not talking about your role is not hot, recruiters are not reaching out to you, then it's time to move to a new role.
Mhm.
And always try to be a shapeshifter. Like if you start your career as a developer back end and you see a demand for front end, then learn front end and be a front end. Okay. Like
Mhm.
Bruce Lee says, be like water. So try to be like water. If you're a cup, be the cup. If it's a pod, be the pod, whatever it is. So fit in the narrative Try to find yourself always relevant to what's happening in the market. The second part is grow your skills, and your technical skills is important, but your soft skills and your business knowledge is more important than your technical skills. In the beginning, as a junior, maybe this is not the case. Technical skills is more important. Your ability to learn is way more important, but your business knowledge, the more you go with the years of experience, the more you know about business, the more you know about how you can deliver a message, how can you coordinate between people, how can you drive outcome. This is priceless, because that means that you are the person who can get things done. Okay. And moving tasks on Jira or moving or committing code to Git is not what gets things done. That's one part of getting things done. It's one step, but it's not the whole story. So always finish the story. Always try to reach to the end of the story. Understand your piece of code that you just committed, what the impact of it on the business that you're running. If you keep that in mind, you will be always in demand, regardless of whatever technology. And no AI can replace you. As simple as that.
It's valuable advice to have impact and to deliver. I imagine if we had to focus only on technical side, we will lose this valuable interactions with humans and our core. Like, this is what differ us from AI, what makes us human, and we interact with each other.
Yes.
Thanks for sharing your impressive journey and the different experiences. It was very interesting, and I had a great time chatting with you. Thank you.
I really, really enjoyed it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm looking forward to our next episode with a new guest and new inspiring story. Until then, stay safe and stay tuned to our next episode. Tic Tac, tackle the inspiration.